This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple to appeal EC's DMA ruling, Eddy Q stirs up trouble, and Seth Rogen says no to Tim Cook. It is Friday, the 9th of May, 2025. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by OpenCase. MagSafe for iPhone perfected. Get 10% off your purchase with code MacOSKen at theopencase.com. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Apple is preparing an appeal to last month's fine by the European Union. In late April, the European Commission, the executive arm of the EU, fined the Cupertino company 500 million euros, roughly $570 million US, under the Digital Markets Act. That was over anti-steering policies in the App Store. Now a piece from Politico has Apple saying, "Why can't we talk about this?" Or really, why couldn't we talk about this when we tried over the past year? According to the piece, the appeal will see Apple accusing the EU executive of spurning the firm's efforts to comply with the law and resolving to impose a large fine months ahead of an official decision. Apple executives say they offered a series of proposals to Europe throughout 2024. The response was said to be either hold off on those or nothing. According to correspondence seen by Politico, Apple offered last summer to drop its rules on how app developers can communicate with users, but was told by the Commission to hold off pending feedback from developers. The EC met with Apple critics like Spotify, Match Group, and Epic Games, according to the report. That was followed by continued silence for Apple from the Commission. The meeting, plus the silence, caused Apple execs to worry that the lack of communication meant the Commission was teeing up a potential fine and non-compliance decision. Questioned about that, Commission spokesperson Lee Zuber told Politico that it was up to Apple to comply and that the fine imposed only addresses the solution that Apple decided to roll out, not any other hypothetical approach that the company might have been considering. Over on Apple Insider, William Gallagher pointed out that even if the EU told Apple to wait, if the company believed its proposal would answer the concern, it's not clear why it didn't implement it. Being from the UK, Mr. Gallagher may not realize that American companies aren't in the habit of doing more than the law requires. Not saying he's wrong. I'm saying it's just not usually done. While the appeal will deal with Apple's €500 million fine, Politico says it is about more than that. The European Commission says the Digital Markets Act is administered in conjunction with the corporations the Act governs. Doesn't that require the European Commission to respond when the corporations call? If it does, and if the EC didn't, that could lead to a more far-reaching finding than the fate of the fine. Apple Senior VP of Services, Eddy "The Butler" Q, testified in a Department of Justice lawsuit against Google on Wednesday, and he kind of kicked a hornet's nest. A piece from Barron's had Q indicating that searches in Apple browsers fell for the first time last month as people turned to AI for their search queries. AI as a threat is something Google has seen as a possibility. According to Barron's, in 2024, Google parent Alphabet added a new warning to the risk section of its 10K annual report. Other companies may develop AI products and technologies that are similar or superior to our technologies, or more cost-effective to develop and/or deploy, the company said in the filing. Doesn't mean they were happy to hear it from Q, though. Probably because Google shares took a beating after his comments. More than just unhappy, though, the advertising giant that used to do search pretty well says the searches Q mentioned have not dropped off. A piece Thursday from Mac Rumors had Google addressing Q's assertion in a blog post, saying we continue to see overall query growth in search. That includes an increase in total queries coming from Apple's devices and platforms. More generally, as we enhance search with new features, people are saying that Google search is more useful for more of their queries. Okay, but Q was under oath and a corporate blog is PR, so I don't know. That was only some of the dust kicked up by Q. A piece from Engadget on Wednesday had the Apple exec indicating that Apple is eyeing AI for search in Safari. Yes, he wants to keep Google, though the Cupertino crew has discussed a possible Safari integration with Perplexity, according to the report. While Q didn't share definite plans, Engadget says it's clear that he believes AI assistants will inevitably supplant traditional search engines. Prior to AI, Q said, "My feeling around this was none of the others were valid choices. I think today there is much greater potential because there are new entrants attacking the problem in a different way." Hey, that's what Google says people are saying about Google. Also, by the way, enjoy your iPhone. You may not have it in 10 years. A piece from Mac Rumors on Wednesday had Q saying, "You may not need an iPhone 10 years from now, as crazy as it sounds." According to that report, he was referring to the way that AI is likely to evolve in the coming years and how wearables, combined with intuitive AI functionality, could replace traditional smartphones. I am telling you nerds, Apple Vision Pro is step one. The technological hurdles are not small, but glasses that let you play games, check messages, make calls, and watch video, while at the same time not making you look like an idiot, it's the way of the future. Hey, that was fun. They should put Eddy Q on the stand more often. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, OpenCase, MagSafe for iPhone, perfected. I've joked with the people at OpenCase that being as excited as I am about their iPhone case feels very 2009. But I am. I am that excited to both use OpenCase and tell you about it. I like that OpenCase creator John Rocco's had an idea and pursued it. He's a friend, and I've enjoyed watching his creation go from prototype to Kickstarter to a thing you can actually buy. More than that, I like that he hit on something so simple, yet so functional and so elegant. He saw an issue where MagSafe accessories for iPhone could shear or slide off. While I would have found that annoying and moved on, he made something to fix it. What I love most, though, is what OpenCase has done for me. Not sponsoring the show, though I do appreciate that. No, I love how OpenCase has made my day easier, turning my phone and physical wallet into one unit. I mean, I like the pop holder and I like that I can charge my phone without taking it out of the case. But day to day, OpenCase has pared down my carry and forced fewer things into my pocket. And that to me is huge. And it looks cool doing it. For all those reasons and more, I encourage you to give OpenCase a look. Go to theopencase.com, pick your case and accessories, then use code MacOSKen at checkout for 10% off. The cases are available for iPhone 16 and currently on sale for iPhone 14 and 15. If you're ready to secure the accessories you have, or finally see what MagSafe for iPhone can do, get 10% off your purchase with code MacOSKen at theopencase.com. That's 10% off your purchase with code MacOSKen at theopencase.com. And a huge thanks to OpenCase for sponsoring this week's MacOSKen. Have you caught episode 8 of The Studio yet? There's an interesting story about that episode this week from Business Insider. The show, which is rife with cameos and guest spots, has a surprising one in this week's episode. Ted Sarandos, co-CEO of Netflix. Kind of surprising since Apple TV Plus would count Netflix as a competitor, though Sarandos says he's not really sure why Apple TV Plus is. Anyway, he's on the show, but that's not the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise is somebody else wanted Sarandos' part. Tim Cook. Seth Rogen, co-creator and star of the studio, told Business Insider, "They asked if we could use Tim Cook instead, and we said no." And still, they got a second season. Coming soon to Apple TV Plus, the apparently feel-good comedy Stick. It's about a stick. It's not really, but I would love it if it were. Apple's press release on the series says the show centers on an over-the-hill ex-pro golfer whose career was derailed prematurely 20 years ago. After the collapse of his marriage and getting fired from his job at an Indiana sporting goods store, he hedges his bets and future entirely on a troubled 17-year-old golf phenom. Stick is a heartfelt, feel-good sports comedy about a found family and their relationships, set within the world of golf as it has never been shown before. Owen Wilson plays the ex-pro, Peter Dager plays the phenom. Other cast members of note include Judy Greer, Timothy Oliphant, and Mark Maron, who is kind of all over that trailer. Trailer's up now on YouTube. The first 3 episodes of Stick hit Apple TV Plus on Wednesday, the 4th of June. They'll land 1 per week on successive Wednesdays through the 23rd of July. And finally today, coming sooner to Apple TV Plus, like it should already be there, the travel docuseries Long Way Home. Teasing the show last month, Apple said the show follows best friends Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman as they ride refurbished vintage motorcycles from Ewan's home in Scotland to Charlie's in England. But rather than take the shortest route, they go the long way. It's an adventure that will take them to more than 15 countries through spectacular scenery and along some of the greatest driving roads in the world. 10 episodes for this one. Long Way Home is streaming now on Apple TV Plus. This week on the checklist, brought to you by Secure Mac. World Password Day was last week, but every day should be World Password Day. The reasons are both blindingly dumb and blindingly obvious. We'll tell you more on checklist number 422. Find it today at securemac.com/checklist or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by OpenCase, MagSafe for iPhone perfected. Get 10% off your purchase with code macOSKen at theopencase.com. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSKen at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macosken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.